Episode 9 is said to be a Star Wars film by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio that will insert tons of Jedi and Sith lore into this story in order to move some of the characters of Rey and Kylo Ren forward in the plot of the film. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, we are just 19 days away from the official teaser trailer, and I couldn't be more excited to see our very first look of Episode 9. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with Rey, the new villain, as well as the Lost City and the Beyond in Episode 9. Now, specifically, it's really interesting for sure, because this all has to do with the Lost City, a description of Rey inside of the Lost City, inside of what's described as the Sith runes. It said that Rey is standing on the Prime Sith Mosaic, which is said to be an inversion of the Prime Jedi Mosaic in The Last Jedi. It's described to have a connection to the Beyond, where Rey begins to hear voices of what's described to be the voices from the Beyond. The voices that Rey hears are described to be both female and male, and are said to be the voices of the new threat that will be a part of the film. The next goes over Rey walking down a set of stone steps in the Sith runes, where it's said that Rey has some kind of connection to the character dubbed as Vector Ritsu, and that they are linked while she is inside of the runes within the Lost City. So I want to go over a couple of parts about this and as to why it does indeed connect to one of the descriptions that we went over a couple of days ago, where Rey was actually explaining to Luke Skywalker that she has had this darkness within her that's growing and that she needs help in the movie. So, with that being said, we do know that the Lost City is going to play somewhat of a significant role in this movie by JJ. It's basically his idea that was supposed to be in Episode 7 that never made it to the final cut of the film. So, now that it's going to be a part of Episode 9, and then it will have a lot to do with the Beyond, as well as the Vector Ritsu character, what's really intriguing to me about this is that it has all to do with the Beyond and exactly how it's going to connect to the new villain in Episode 9. So these voices that are reaching out to Rey, which, strange, in a very strange way, guys, you do hear these voices in The Force Awakens and in The Last Jedi, except those are the only ones that are actually female voices. But the ones that are the male voices are actually said to be the voices of Vector Ritsu reaching out to the character of Rey in the Lost City while she's standing on top of the Sith Mosaic. Now, that's what interests me the most is, of course, the Sith Mosaic is said to be, of course, the inversion of the Prime Jedi Mosaic. So the Prime Sith Mosaic, we're not quite sure exactly what the significance of it really will be in the movie, other than it will allow Rey to have this connection to the Beyond, where the voices are reaching out to Rey, telling her certain truths or certain aspects about the Beyond itself. Now, I will say that J.J. Abrams, we do know that he's going to be doing some wild and crazy things in this movie that may seem a little off to the general audience, and I will say that we do know that J.J. Abrams likes to take a lot of risks when it comes to some of the other projects that he has worked on, such as Westworld, Lost, and even Fringe. And let me tell you guys, in those, TV series, you will see a lot of really good twists and turns here and there that could very well give you an idea of what's going to come our way in Episode 9. So, with that being said, the Lost City really does hold a lot of value within the story of Episode 9. It holds a lot of truths and connections, not just to other characters of the past, but also to the Beyond itself. And this new villain, dubbed as Vector Ritsu, as well as the more minor villain that's going to be a female villain, is also reaching out to the character of Rey. There is a connection between both Rey and the new villain in Episode 9, as well as the other one, where she's standing on top of the Prime Sith Mosaic that allows her to have this connection between those two villains. So what I find very intriguing, though, is that we also know that in The Force Awakens and in The Last Jedi, you do hear these voices. It's very faint on Takodana, and of course in the Mirror Cave in The Last Jedi. You do hear voices, without a doubt. If you crank up the volume and listen to it very carefully and kind of mess around and modify the audio levels, you do hear it very clearly, and it's actually calling out to Rey, saying Rey. So these voices are actually going to have a connection to the beyond of some kind. Could it very well have something to do with Rey's parents? I'm not quite sure about that. That's a common question about the voices that we do hear in episodes 7 and 8, is of course, are those voices, perhaps the voices of Rey's mother or something around those lines? I'm starting to believe that those voices are actually going to line up directly with the voices that we are actually learning about right here, that Rey eventually hears within the Lost City in the Sith runes. Guys, I gotta tell you, we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm are using this movie as a course correction, and this is probably the best way to go about doing things, is by using this Jedi and Sith lore to move the character of Rey forward, and also answering a lot of the burning questions through this lore. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.